Welcome back, everybody. Today we'll be discussing the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Olive. Specifically, we'll be discussing whether it should sell or hold the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Olive and why that is. To preface this, if you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications. This way, you're always 100% updated. Furthermore, for more urgent updates like the recent shock drops we've seen, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and also Personals for You. And of course, for early information before these drops actually occur, Endurance always has your back. You can join the waitlist with the link in the description below. For those who don't know, the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Olive releases on April 26th, tomorrow. But the raffle on his site may actually go live today. Retail is $150 for women's sizes, $60 for preschool, and $50 for toddler. Stock between all sizes combined is over 120,000 pairs, which is pretty close to what we saw on the recent black pair. In order to determine if the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Olive will be a fruitful hold, we will cover an estimated range of what the sneaker will settle at after the drop, and also when shipments come in, essentially the pair is going in circulation, whether they're expected to increase post-drop or even hypothetically decrease, along with how much specifically over specific periods of time, and finally, what type of margin are we looking at for these in terms of holding, not the retail to resale initial margin, but rather just the hold margin over X period of time. Kicking it off, let's discuss the estimated range that these should be settling at. To begin with, stock for these is pretty similar to what we saw on the prior Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low in black, and as for demand, it is also looking incredible, just like the prior Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low as well. In fact, despite the pre-sale being slightly higher than what we saw on the black pair, these still have about the same sale volume, and it's a really healthy amount, especially because of how much pre-sale is. With that said, I think it's obvious that these are going to be extremely profitable with an incredible margin, full throttle. In fact, similar to the black pair, preschool and toddler sizes should also be profitable too. Now, regarding a specific range, prices have already seen the vast majority of their pre-drop decrease since it is the night before. This leaves the current average at about $856 for sizes 8 to 12. We normally see a notable change post-US drop. This is when we normally experience what I like to refer to as the impulsivity effect. You guys should know what I'm referring to by now, as we discuss this very frequently, yet it almost always occurs. Regarding the impulsivity effect, if you haven't watched my seller hold videos before, sneaker drops specifically impact human impulsiveness significantly after an individual fails to acquire that desired product due to insufficient supply and too much demand. Therefore, on average, we normally see about a 5 to 10% increase of the pre-drop prices post-drop. However, when it comes to these, it is important to keep in mind that contrary to most general releases, there are hardly any pairs already in circulation for these, which means that it's more likely that these are a bit overvalued right now. So, despite the very high demand, even with pre-sale, I'm actually expecting a negative impulsivity effect. I'd expect prices to drop as much as 10% on drop day alone. This could potentially leave prices at about $770 on average for sizes 8 to 12. Now, let's discuss what price will look like once shipments go out in the 1 to 2 week range. During this period, the vast majority of pairs will be going into circulation. Normally, I'd expect the typical 10% decrease, but considering so few of these are in circulation right now, and what we saw occur with the recent black pair of Travis Scott Jordan 1 Lows, I think it's reasonable to expect an additional 15% drop in prices over the following 2 weeks. This would then hypothetically leave prices at about $655, which is still extremely profitable and even slightly higher than the current average on the black pair. Now that the average price range at those points in time are evident though, let's discuss whether they're expected to increase from the post-shipment trough or even hypothetically decrease. If we take a look at the prior Travis Scott Jordan 1 Lows, we'll see a pretty consistent pattern, and that's mostly a plateau or even a mild decline in price over time. Of course, there are macro factors influencing these patterns, but the same will apply to these olive pairs as well. I wouldn't expect anything too different. So with that said, despite demand being extremely high on these, I'm not expecting a notable increase for a while, mostly just a plateau. However, long term, we should eventually be seeing somewhat of an increase. So finally, regarding the hold margin on these, essentially, are they going to be worth your time even if they do eventually increase? First, considering I am expecting these to plateau or at least not increase in value for a fair period of time, this obviously means you shouldn't expect a good short-term ROI. Long term, when they do eventually increase, I don't think that would be an ideal ROI either, considering how high in value they already are. For example, we did see that the Travis Fragment 1s have actually managed to increase, but considering how high even they were initially, it only allowed for about a 15% ROI, which isn't anything special. These olives are starting out much lower, but nonetheless, they are still starting out high in general, and will require a significant amount of movement for a good return. Hence, I would rate these below average at 3 out of 10, which is one of the worst ratings that we have given recently. Personally, I will be selling all my pairs as soon as possible. Also, just a note in general for anyone considering holding any items who does have low capital, you should never hold anything in general if you don't have sufficient capital to go for as many drops as possible at your full potential without holding back. If you need money to go for any drops, try to sell these as soon as possible. Let me know what you guys are doing with your pairs down in the comments below. Since this is a discussion at the end of the day, I can't predict the future. That's just my personal analysis based on the data that I've acknowledged. We have a lot of brilliant minds watching right now, so I implore you to leave your notions down below too. But anyway, that will conclude it for today. Again, you can feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed or maybe if you learned a thing or two. Also, feel free to join the waitlist for endurance. A link for that is in the description below. Subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you stay 100% updated on all hyped releases. Also, feel free to check out the other links in the description for reliable, fast, residential proxies from Kit Proxies, and we also just added ISP proxies as well. You could also now join eDeals with the link in the description for completely free. Furthermore, feel free to follow Gargantua on Twitter if you want to keep up with the progress or restocks. And last but not least, make sure to follow KeithAdam10 and Personals for You. This way you guys stay updated on all urgent info like I was going over today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and of course, good luck on the release.